My name is Janet Pinto, and I'm Currikie's Chief Academic Officer and Chief Marketing Officer. I'm so pleased to welcome you to our webinar today, How to Create Interactive Experiences to Excite, Engage, and Inspire Your Students. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Today, you'll hear from Abby Ross, Currikie's Head of Product, with some exciting Currikie Studio product updates. Caroline Benoit, Currikie's instructional designer and middle school teacher, will dive into Currikie Studio to show you all the ways you can create interactive learning for your students. And Keith Kostreski, Currikie's CEO, is also here to answer any of your questions. Before we begin, let's go through some quick tips to make sure you have a great webinar experience. Close all bandwidths, close all other applications that use up your bandwidth. To view the slides larger, you can click the full screen icon in the upper right corner of your screen. Of course, along the way, please post your questions in the chat. And please tweet your thoughts using the hashtag you see here, Currikie Studio Webinar. And that is it. I think we're ready to begin. And I'll introduce Abby to kick us off. Ready, Abby?
Yeah, can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay, wonderful.
Live. Yes.
Well, I am going to quickly do a just some table setting in terms of Currikie Studio and why we have created Currikie Studio. Then walk through some of the product updates for whoever's doing that. Can you stop? Then walk through some updates on Currikie Studio and some of the new features that we'll be releasing in the coming weeks. And then I'll pass it over to the star of the show, Caroline, who is going to dynamically walk you through some different ways in which, as a content creator, you can take advantage of Currikie Studio tools. So to kick it off, Currikie Studio is changing the way educational experiences are designed, created, and delivered to a new generation of learners. We built Currikie Studio because we know there's a lot of great existing content out there, but existing resources aren't interactive by design. And for a content creator, whether you're an educator in a classroom, a director of curriculum instruction, or the head of a nonprofit, building a learning experience from scratch can be technical and expensive. And as we move into this ever-changing world of distance and flipped classrooms, current digital courseware is designed for more traditional classroom settings. So it's our goal to create a one-stop shop for interactive learning activities so that you can take advantage of interactive video, gamified quiz, badges, and leaderboards, and create a connected and cohesive curricular experience for your learners with Currikie Studio and publish that to wherever you'd like. We have over 15 learning activity types available in Currikie Studio, and it's our goal to take 50 into 500. You'll see Caroline demonstrate a variety of different learning activity types that range in interactivity, and you can adjust the rigor depending on your instructional goals. And our goal is to continue to evolve this with new integrations like video conferencing, real-time collaboration, and even audio streaming so that students can have voice and choice in what they're doing to be reflective of a 21st century learning experience. With Currikie Studio, you can create and author all of your content in one place and then publish anywhere. You can publish to the top learning management systems. You can embed a playlist or activities in a website or a microsite. All of our learning experiences are mobile optimized by design, and you can package that up and create your own mobile application. Or if you're a technologist who wants to take advantage of our tools, you can download our entire kit as a self-executable file. So if you've been in Currikie Studio and you're already a member, welcome. I want to show you a couple things that you're going to see in the next couple of weeks with upcoming releases with Currikie Studio. And I first need to give a shout out to all of the awesome content authors who have been using the tool and giving us feedback and insights into how we can improve the tool. You are the ones that drove these upcoming changes. So first and foremost, images for activity thumbnails. We got a lot of feedback that as a content creator, educators want to be able to quickly and easily add images to activities for thumbnails. Now, instead of just needing to have something downloaded on your computer, creators can choose from a random default image. They can search a database of open source images that are free and available for you to jump in, or you can upload something from your computer. Our goal is to streamline the activity creation process by giving you access to quality images at your fingertips to be able to grab and go. We've also created a new category of activity types using GeoGebra, which is an open source algebra and geometry learning activity type. As you're going through the content creator activity flow, you'll notice that we have a new section called math, and there are 6 currently new different types of tools, such as a graphing calculator, charts and graphs that students can create and educators can write key prompts towards. We also have another new activity type called immersive reader. So this integrates immersive reading activities as a learning experience. It does things like highlight the text as the student reads, provides audio support, and if a student wants to look at a picture of a specific image for visual association, that's available right in there. So really great for long passages and especially helpful for students with special needs or need modifications in reading support. The other thing you might have noticed is that content creators wanted to be saw things like timeline or interactive video or branching scenario. And I was like, what is this? And kind of want to try before they buy and jump in and start investing time in doing it. Now, as you're going through the content creation flow, you can see a demo of an example activity type completely baked out by an educator, as well as get an interactive video on how to use that activity type in your building to get extra help and support. The other thing I'm excited to announce is that coming soon, probably in about a month or so, you will be able to search and remix activities from a library of activated CurrikiStudio playlists. So if you are ready to create a financial literacy program but don't know where to start, try searching the content and it will return results of other shared projects and playlists created by other authors, so you can take those and integrate those into your instruction. We're going to be releasing the ability to filter by subject and grade level coming soon, and our goal with this is to really streamline the process and access to open quality educational resources. The other thing I wanted to announce is that we do have a public roadmap. So if you're wondering, what is Curriki up to? What are they going to be working on next? We'll share this link in our webinar follow-up, but you can follow along with our progress and see inbound requests and things that we'll be working on at our publicly available roadmap. Again, this is all driven by user feedback, so we encourage you to, on this page, submit requests, ideas, and feedback on how we can continue to evolve Curriki to meet the needs of you. The last thing to highlight here before passing it over to Caroline is we have a host of support resources. So at support.curriki.org, you'll find some technical support, how-to, some instructional design tips, as well as embedded in CurrikiStudio, we have a live chat and email support to help with troubleshooting while you're building projects and playlists. So with that, I'm excited to introduce Caroline, who will be talking about how you can create interactive lessons in a no coding knowledge required setting. And this is great for differentiation, homeschool, flipped classrooms, and really the possibilities are endless. So Caroline's going to walk us through, and she has the expertise of building, I think, over 50 projects in CurrikiStudio, leveraging a wide variety of our activity types. So she is truly the expert, and I'm excited to introduce Caroline.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Here we are. In today's webinar, I'm going to look at 3 things. I will try to answer questions in between each section. So on our agenda for today, we're going to look at how to take a PDF and turn it into CurrikiStudio Magic, how to create an interactive video, and lastly, how to create a differentiated activity using CurrikiStudio. Before we jump in, let's take a look at the PDF file that I'll be using in our activities today. This is a worksheet used in an 8th grade science classroom. We all have that trusty worksheet that gets the job done. It's static and not interactive, but I know that it accurately assesses my students on the content. Now, in our current educational environment of blended and online learning, how do I adjust this worksheet to make it digitally interactive for my students? Well, the answer to that is CurrikiStudio. So let's take a peek at how this worksheet can be transformed in CurrikiStudio. Here, we are looking at an example of a built-out column layout. This activity type stacks multiple interactions. I'm going to discuss how to implement a few of my favorite activities, starting with the drag text feature. Drag text is a wonderful activity type whenever you need to do a warm-up, a bell ringer, a lead-in, active engagement, check for understanding, or an independent practice. As we are looking at this drag text example, I hope you notice that the provided content looks very familiar. We are looking at the same matching activity provided on our mitosis worksheet. We see that the instructions have been copied and pasted into our drag text activity. You should also notice that the questions are exactly the same and have also been copied and pasted in. The time that I would spend on printing this worksheet for my 120 students is the same amount of time that it took me to copy and paste and build this interactive experience. As I'm dropping my answers, we are seeing instant feedback. This feature has been chosen by the author of this activity. If providing this activity as a warm-up or bell ringer, I would likely select this same instant feedback setting. Another piece to point out is that I can list my terms more than once. Now, let's take a look at fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks pro tip. You can add a media file in the form of a JPEG, PNG, GIF, MP4, or YouTube videos with your fill in the blank activity. These are also excellent for warm-ups, bell ringers, lead-ins, active engagements, checks for understandings, and independent practices. Here, I have provided a GIF for my students, and I'm showing you how they can expand that image. Scrolling down, I hope we notice that the same questions have been copied and pasted in. The great thing about our fill in the blanks is that it provides multiple options for how you can supply a word bank for your students. Here I can see a word bank that has been provided in the task description, but I also can provide a word bank in an information callout or tip text. Now my students can type in their answers and are provided immediate feedback. Again, that feature is customizable by the author of that activity. Now scrolling down, here we have drag and drop. I have provided 2 different versions of my drag and drop. Drag and drops are excellent for warm-ups, bell ringers, lead-ins, active engagements, checks for understandings, and independent practices. First, we will look at a snippet style of a drag and drop. I have taken my PDF, so once again, here is that PDF worksheet, and I have taken that worksheet and used my snipping tool on my computer to grab an image of the matching activity. In the CurrikiStudio tool, I uploaded that image and easily created the buttons below. Now, I am going to drag in my answers to also show you an important feature where you can provide feedback based on how your students perform. Notice the provided feedback. Let's meet for tutorials tomorrow. This is a customizable feedback feature that allows the author to provide a message dependent on the student's performance. Scrolling down, here we see a fancier version of our drag and drop. The teacher has created their own image using a tool like Canva, and students are now going to take the descriptions that have been put into buttons and place them into the correct phases above. When they check their answer, they are also provided with feedback for Let's Meet for tutorials tomorrow morning. Now, here we have a Guess the Answer. Pro tip for Guess the Answer is that you can add a media file. So once again, I can add a JPEG or PNG, a GIF, MP4, or YouTube video. These Guess the Answers are excellent for warm-ups, bell ringers, lead-ins, and active engagements. Students are provided with a snippet of the worksheet and then can reveal their answer below. The last activity that we are going to check out on this column layout is a memory game. Memory games are also wonderful for warm-ups, bell ringers, lead-ins, active engagements, checks for understandings, and independent practices. A pro tip with memory games, you do not have to use the same image twice, so you can add in alternate matching images. You can also add in audio files. Here I have provided a memory game where my students must match the images that they are provided, but they are also going to be provided audio of their new vocabulary words. You might not be able to hear my audio due to the webinar limitations, but it sounds loud and clear on my device.
Prophase, anaphase, metaphase, prophase, prophase, prophase.
You can also see with our memory game that we keep data on the time spent and cards turned. Now, let's take a look at how to easily and truly how easy it is to build out an activity like the ones we see here in our column layout. Here is my screen when I'm editing as an author. I have my playlist here ready to go. I also hope you see how easy it is to reorganize your content and move your content from playlist to playlist. But let's jump in and add a new resource. When adding a new resource, you are met with a bunch of different, and when I say bunch, sorry, a few different categories where we house our 50+ activity types. We have audio, informational, multimedia, photos and images, questions, and mathematics. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a fill in the blanks similar to what we just saw in column layout, but we're going to use the bottom half of our mitosis worksheet. We need to upload a thumbnail, provide a title. So this is our phases of mitosis, and this will be our fill in the blank activity. I'm going to provide the subject, which is science in 8th grade for my educational level. Press continue. Anytime we are working in Studio, always go into full screen mode. Anytime you see a red asterisk, that is something that must be filled out. So let's give a title. So this is the phases of mitosis. Fill in the blanks. Here we see where we can add media. Again, our media file types for fill in the blanks could be an image, which is a JPEG, PNG, or GIF file. You can also add a video, which could be an MP4 or YouTube video. I am going to provide an image just so we can see how that looks. Press the plus sign, take an image. Oops. Sorry about that pause. Take the image, add it in. I'm going to add in my alternative text as well. I'm going to close that up. Now for my task description. Task descriptions provide a already filled out response that says fill in the missing words. I am going to keep that, but I also want to provide my students with a word bank. Notice that all the features in our activities do look similar to what you normally see on a Google Doc or Microsoft Word document. Now to get my word bank, I'm going to head back to my mitosis worksheet. And I'm scrolling down because we're going to take it from the bottom half of my worksheet. So I have these words at the top that I want to get. So I'm going to highlight those. And sometimes PDFs can give you trouble whenever you're highlighting, but try your best to get that copied. Now I'm going to head back to Studio. Here are my words. I have interphase, prophase, anaphase, telophase, and metaphase. I need to finish out and add that second row. Scrolling down. Let's get those for us. Add them in. Looks like cytokinesis is going to be used twice. The sister chromatid, centromere, and cell plate. Now that I have that word bank, we're scrolling down where we will see important instructions. Important instructions will be listed for each activity type. If they are not automatically shown, it might look like this, a yellow button that says show instructions. When clicking on that, you will be provided anything that you need to do to create the activity. So for this activity, blanks are added with an asterisk. So my coding is adding an asterisk in front and behind my correct answer. I also can add alternative answers with a separated /, or I could provide a textual tip, which I am going to do by using a colon in front of the tip. So let's go back to my worksheet and grab my first question. Question number 18, in what phase does the cell begin to split? So I'm going to copy that and come back to Studio where I've pasted it in. I could provide my answer at the front or back of this. I'm going to do it in the back. I know my answer is cytokinesis. And I do want to provide a tip. For my tip, I'm actually going to provide that word bank I just created above. So I've put in my colon. I'm going to go right back up and grab this word bank, copy it, paste it in. And then to finish this out, I need to add another asterisk. So I'm not going to do the whole worksheet, but I'll do a couple more. So again, let's go back to the mitosis worksheet, copy the question I would like to copy, come back to Studio, paste it in. My answer to this one is anaphase. I want to add that word bank here as well. So let's go back up. I'm going to steal it from the one above. It already has the asterisk on the end, so I don't need to add that again. Everything looks great. And let's add one more in. So I'll add in question 20. What phase does the chromatin condense to form chromosomes? Copy it, come back to Studio, paste it in. Let's add in our answer, which is prophase. And again, let's add in our word bank. So our word bank is right here. So I'm going to grab it from right above, copy that, and paste it in. Now I have created those 3 questions. Let's scroll down and look at some other features in Studio. Here I have my overall feedback. This is where I was able to provide the instructions to my students to come to tutorials. So I want to add a range, and let's say that if they get a 70% or below, that I would like to see them in tutorials tomorrow. My students that receive a 71% to 100%, I want them to know that they did a great job. Another feature to always look at when working in CurrikiStudio are your behavioral settings. These differ depending on which activity type you are looking at. When scrolling down, you notice that I can take away the retry button. I could allow them to have the show solution or take that away. For fill in the blanks, I can make it case sensitive. In this circumstance, I'm going to take that feature off. And also with fill in the blanks, I'm able to accept minor spelling errors. The next thing we have is our text overrides and translations. This just allows you to change the title to the buttons that are provided. I do not usually change those as I like the way they are already formatted. Now, I'm going to proceed to save, scroll on down, finish this out, and we can see how truly easy it was to take that PDF worksheet that I've used in the past, and now I have created a beautiful interactive experience where my students can fill in their answers online. So here we see the word bank in the task description, and I also have it here as an information call out. I probably wouldn't provide it in both spots, but I wanted you to be able to see the two different ways. Cytokinesis, the next answer is anaphase, and I am going to put in the wrong answer here just so I can check to see how that feedback comes back. Now I see I got enough feedback that I need to go to tutorials tomorrow. I can also press show solution to see the correct answer. And I hope you did notice that I did not provide instant feedback on this activity the way I had in the previous version on column layout. Now, before I jump into our next section, are there any questions I can answer about what I've shown so far?
Yeah, Caroline, a great question from Valerie. Is it possible for teachers to track the students' performance? I think that's a good one to dig in on.
Yes, excellent question, Valerie. When you publish this content into your learning management system, it will track the data of how your students perform. So the same way that I'm seeing this 2 out of 3, I would receive that data whether I post it on Google Classroom or on Canvas or Schoology, whichever LMS system you are using will hold on to the data from your students. Great question, Valerie. Now, here's again that preview mode. I want to get back into editing mode for this activity. So I'm going to go back into my science project and go back into build. And let's take a look at how easy it is to build an interactive video. I'm going to press add new resource. I am met again with my different categories. Interactive video is housed in multimedia. And I know Abby already mentioned this, but I hope you do see that for each activity type, we do provide a demo version of that activity. So here I can see an interactive video that has already been built out. Remember, the circles at the bottom are all of our interactions. But I'm also provided a tutorial video walking me through step-by-step how to build. So I'm going to click on my interactive video. I'm going to upload a thumbnail. I'm going to write out that this is my phases of mitosis interactive video and provide the subject and educational level. Again, don't forget to always go into full screen mode. So now, anywhere I see this red asterisk, I need to fill it out. So this is my phases of mitosis interactive video. In order to add a video, I press this plus sign here, and I'm able to add in an MP4 file. So if I have taken a video of myself teaching a lesson, I could add it in here, or I can go to YouTube and find a video link there. So I already pulled a video that I want to add in from YouTube. I'm going to copy that link, paste that link here, press insert. And another great feature is that you can provide a home screen for your students. So right here where it says interactive video, I'm going to click down and I see that I can now provide a title. So this is my phases of mitosis interactive video. And I can also provide a short description for my students. So I'm going to tell them, please answer the questions as they appear. So I'm going to collapse that back up and let's go into the magic part. Step 2, adding our interactions. Up at the top, we can see the many different interactions that we can add into our videos. We can provide labels, text, tables, links, images, and then our more interactive features start here. We could provide statements. This is when you provide summary statements and the students click the most correct one that summarizes the content. We have single choice set, which is a multiple choice question with one answer. We have multiple choice questions, which does provide a lot more customization. You can actually add in additional media. So you could add in another video. You could add in images as well. And you can also provide questions where they select all that apply. We have true or false questions, fill in the blanks like we just saw, drag and drop like the ones we saw in the column layout, mark the words, drag text, crossroads, which allows you to send your students to different points of the video, and navigation hotspot. Now, I'm going to add in a drag text. And actually, I need to pick my spot in my video first of where I want to put that. So I'm going to put it at 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's make sure I don't have any volume going for y'all. So at 5 minutes and 12 seconds, they're talking about prophase. I'm going to add in some questions about prophase. So I'm going to click that I want to add in a drag text. And here you can see all the customization options for you as the author. I can decide how long I want it to be displayed. Do I want the video to pause? Do I want this displayed as a button or poster? I usually choose a poster for this. I'm going to give it a title. So this is my prophase drag text. And then here I see the task description. I'm provided with a task description that is already formulated for me to drag the words into the correct boxes. And I'm going to keep that the same, but I am going to center it, going to make it bold and provide a larger font. So heading 2 does provide a larger font for me. And then I scroll down and see my important instructions for this activity. So it tells me that my droppable words are added with an asterisk in front or behind the correct word or phrase. I can also add textual tips with the colon. For every empty spot, there can only be one correct word. And then I can also provide feedback. Now I am going to go back to that worksheet and steal some questions from the worksheet I already know and like. So the first question I'm going to steal is this: what is a phase of the chromatin condenses? So I've copied it and pasted it again. And this time I'm going to put my draggable feature in front. So I know the answer to this is prophase. Let's go drag one more question, question 21. Again, just highlight the question that you want to grab. Press copy. So I am pressing Control Copy, Control C. I'm putting that on my next line because I want to give it some space. In fact, I might even give it a little bit more space. And then I want to provide the answer in front. So the next answer is centromere. And I have put around my asterisks on my answers. I'm not providing a textual tip, but I've done everything I need to do. And I'm scrolling down. Here's again where I could provide that feedback. And always try to look at your behavioral settings because they change per each activity type. So again, I can enable retry. I can enable a show solution button. And here's where that instant feedback feature is. I'm not going to click on it this time. Now, adaptivity is another great thing within our interactive videos. So you can provide an action if your students get it correct. You can provide an action if your students get it wrong. What we mean by actions: if your students get it wrong, you could send them to another point in the video. You could provide a message or a label for them to seek to another spot of the video. So I have finished out this one interaction. Since it is a poster, I like to drag it across the whole screen so my students have to fill it out and are forced to look at it. And I'm going to press Proceed to save. When scrolling down, I then press Finish. And let's look at what this finished product looks like. Here I have my mitosis video. I see my interactions down at the bottom. And let's see what it looks like as a student. Drag the words into the correct boxes. Here are my 2 answers. I'm going to drag them in. Notice I'm not receiving immediate feedback like I did on my column layout version. Now I have to check my answers, and I am provided that I got 2 out of 2 correct, which again, this data will be housed in your learning management system. I press continue and continue throughout my video. Now, are there any questions before I move into our final piece?
Hey, Caroline, I think you're okay. Lots of good questions and activity going back and forth, but the team is sharing and answering, so I think you're all good.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mark. The last thing that we are going to take a look at is how to use the tools in Curriki Studio to provide a differentiated activity. So I'm first going to look in the preview mode of this activity before we look at how to edit it. And I'm going to take it into full screen as well. Branching scenarios are our adaptive activity that are great for differentiation. You can use them as well for checks for understandings. They work excellent for choice boards. They can also work for independent practices, project previews, or your stations. We are going to take a look at the phases of mitosis differentiated practice. Here are my instructions for my students. Step 1, on the next slide, sort the phrases into the correct section and submit your answers with the check button. Step 2, your score directs you down your path. Click the Proceed button to follow. Step 3, follow the directions to complete each activity assigned in your pathway. So let's go to the next slide and see what our first step gives us. Hopefully this looks a little familiar. Here we see the same drag and drop from our earlier look at the column layout. Curriki Studio provides the ability to easily copy and paste already built interactions. I will show you how to do that shortly. Students will use this activity as their ticket to stations. Using the feedback feature shown earlier, students are provided instructions based on their performance. So students can come through, drag and drop their different answers, and when they go to check, they are provided feedback. This time the feedback says, follow the blue star path. Well, when I go to proceed, I am met with the branching question. Find your pathway. Am I a blue star path, a green diamond path, or a yellow circle path? Well, I was told I'm a blue star path. So let's look at what that gives us. Blue star learners scored the lowest on their mitosis quiz. So depending on the style of learning, whether you are in blended, flipped, or distance learning scenarios, this would be the group that would need to receive immediate remediation. You could provide them a text box with a link to an external website like a Zoom small group. You could provide them a course presentation, which includes dialogue cards for extra vocabulary practice, or another drag and drop, or fill in the blanks, multiple choice, exportable text, or true and false. You could provide an image hotspot or another interactive video for remediation, which is exactly what we're going to provide them shortly. But let's press proceed and see what the other pathways look like. So next, we're going to go down the green diamond path. The green diamond group scored between 34% and 80%. This group could receive a variety of activity types to practice and improve their mastery. Again, you could provide a course presentation and all that is included with that. You could provide an image hotspot, an interactive video, a text box that links them to an external website, or a text box that links them to another Zoom small group. Now, when I press proceed, we'll see an example of an activity they could receive. Here we have a fill in the blanks activity, which actually is the same fill in the blanks that we saw earlier in our column layout. Then the student presses proceed again, and they see the same quiz they initially saw in this branching scenario. I have placed this here so my students can now prove their mastery before leaving the classroom or finishing out their at-home learning activities. Now, let's press proceed and see what happens for our yellow circle path learners. The yellow circle group scored the highest on the mitosis quiz and have already shown mastery of this skill. This group could receive a variety of enrichment and extension activity types. Again, you could provide them a course presentation and all that comes with that with enrichment activities. You could provide an image hotspot or interactive video, a link to an external website or iframe embedder. And I have actually provided them in their mitosis extension with a link that takes them out to the mitosis mover game. So when my students click on this, they are taken out of the website and into a game. But let's go back to our studio because now I want to show you how we can edit and add in an activity that has already been made. So let's go back to my editing dashboard. Here I am. And I want to add this interactive video that we just made together into my differentiated practice as the remediation piece for my learners, my Blue Star learners. So I'm going to go into Edit. I've already built this out, so I don't have to do it again. I press Continue. And now at the top, I see that I have a copy button. I also have paste and replace, but I want to copy this interactive video as is. So I'm going to click out of this, and let's go back into editing my differentiated practice, which is right here. So I'm press Edit. Again, my activity has already been described. And I will say that our branching scenario is definitely the activity that looks the most different from our other activity types. We can see the layout is different. We're not provided with the red asterisks for what we need to fill in, but it does allow you to really understand this adaptivity because you can see at the top where I have my ticket to stations. In fact, I can preview it while I'm in the activities editing mode. So here I see where my students had to fill out that drag and drop. Let's go back to edit. They then were shown this branching scenario question, their branching question. So again, I can show you what that looks like. That's this question that was provided. And then here are the different pathways. We have our blue stars, our green diamonds with their fill in the blank and their proof of mastery, and our yellow circle with their extension activity of the mitosis mover game. Now I want to provide an activity for my blue star learners. So when I look here at the bottom of my screen, I see where it says paste and add it from my clipboard. So I'm going to press that, and I already can see that interactive video that we just made together is available, and I see all the different spots that I can add it to. Well, I want it to be the next thing my blue star learners work on. Notice it opens it back up, and I can edit it further. So when I edit it here, if I wanted to add an additional interaction, it would not mess up the interactions I have in my other version of this activity type. It would only edit the activity as it is in this interaction. So I'm not going to edit it any further, but I do know if my green diamonds need to prove their mastery, my blue stars need to as well. So within the branching scenario feature, I can copy as well. So if I look at my proof of mastery that I've already made, and I look at my little icon right here, I'm going to click on that and press copy. Now I have copied that proof of mastery. So when I come over to paste, I now have it in the form of the course presentation, which is my proof of mastery. I'll add that in. Same thing, I can edit it further if I would like. I'm not going to do that though. I like it how it is. I press done, and now my blue star learner has their pathway. So let's see what this looks like in preview mode. So I'm going to press finish, get that all saved. And let's go through this again as a blue star learner. So they are met with the initial screen, and I can go into full screen mode on this one. So here's the screen that starts. They're going to start the course. Here are their instructions. They go to the next slide. Here is their drag and drop that allows them to see what path they are. So I'm the blue star path. Press proceed. Blue star path. I'm met with the text that I already had in. But when I press proceed now, I'm met with the interactive video with our interaction where I must do a drag text, prophase, centromere, check my work, excellent job, press proceed again, and here is my proof of mastery. And when I press proceed again, I'm met with the final screen to restart the course or move on. So there we have seen how to build out within our CurrikiStudio tool. But the next important piece and the last important piece is how on earth do we provide this content for our students? So it is now time to publish this content, my science class, to our learning management system. So I'm back in my project dashboard, and I'm going to click the 3 vertical dots. And I will say that there are multiple ways to share your content. This is just how I've decided to share mine. So here are my 3 dots. I'm going to click on that. I see where it says publish, and where it says Google Classroom, because that's where my students are getting their materials. Now it prompts me with this screen, so I need to log in with my Google. It asks if I'm sure I want to submit this project onto my Google Classroom. I am sure. I'm confirming that. And it says it's publishing. So let's head over to my classroom and let's refresh the page and see if it's there. And here it is. Here is my science project. So I'm going to accept this class. I'm prompted with this screen. I have read and agree with the notice. And now I can see the activities that I have built out for my phases of mitosis. Again, if I click on this, I can provide any additional instructions I would like to in my Google Classroom, but my students can click on the link and they are provided with the activities that I have created. So this is an example of the flashcards that I created for my phases of mitosis. I hope that you all have enjoyed this quick glimpse into how CurrikiStudio provides the ability for you to easily transform any content into quality interactive experiences. Thank you so much for your time today.
Wonderful job. Can I ask you a few questions that if you stay on here for a quick moment?
Absolutely.
Two items that I think we could do in real time would be helpful for the group. One, could you clarify what the hotspot look is? Could you show a quick example of that? That came through a few questions here, and we know how valuable that is in the process of converting content. And the other is a question for the larger group while you pull it up, Caroline, was can we publish to Canvas? And the answer is yes, Stella. We have an active integration with Canvas Learning Management System now. And then at the end of this week, we'll be adding in Schoology and Desire to Learn. So we're adding in learning management systems that are pervasive throughout K-12 and higher ed. We can actually show you what that may look like as well. But Caroline, take it away on the hotspot.
Absolutely. So here's an example of an image hotspot. And these little icons are customizable. I probably should have made these a little clearer for us. But here I've taken a map of the United States and provided a hotspot in each of our national parks. So here, when I click on that, I'm provided an image from the book, Our Great Big Backyard. And so students can see the image from the book that was provided that was describing the Everglades National Park. So that's an example here. And I also have a few other examples I can show. What's excellent about our hotspot is that you can provide an image like I'm doing here. You can also provide a video. So when you provide videos, that can be an MP4 file or a YouTube video. And you can also provide just text. So I have provided images in this example. Let me see if I can find another example real quick of another image hotspot. I do have my activity sampler. So let's scroll on over to an image hotspot. So this example it's on the United States map as well, but here we can see where we have text and image added in. So they click wherever the hotspots have been placed and they're provided the content. So this is an excellent tool. You also have a tool called Find the Hotspot, where students must find and click on the spot where they believe that information or content is housed. I'm not sure if I have an example of that offhand, but it's another wonderful tool.
Thank you very much for that, Caroline. And there's plenty of questions coming in with regards to how do I practice? How do I play? I do want to share that when you register for CurrikiStudio, you will have a series of playlists available for you. One will be this activity sampler that Caroline is showing right now that gives you a template, if you will, of all of the item types that allow you to copy in and edit, but give you in real time an example of what those experiences will look like. So that's a great way to get started. And the other question that came in, and Caroline and Abby and the team have created a wonderful how-to playlist. So we are using our Curriki Studio playlist to show how to refresh on how to create assets and publish, etc. within the tool. So we've tried to build as many self-help training points within this studio to encourage adoption and engagement. So, any other questions coming in here? This has been a wonderful. Thank you very much, Caroline, and thank you so much for the active participation on the chat. It's wonderful to see all the great questions, and I have to tell you, in the middle of either school prep or in your school day or managing little ones at home as they begin the school year, we really appreciate your time, attention, and thoughtfulness, and in spending time with us today, but also in the responsiveness to the new challenges and new opportunities that we all face as a learning community in these times of transition, but really want to apply as many silver linings to the current situation as we can. And we really, at Curriki, and I believe many of you that are here and taking the time and investing in innovation in learning, the ability to bring these types of learning experiences to you as educators and you as learning technologists really will allow students to have better experiences from here and beyond. We want to not just survive this time, we also want our learners to thrive. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time today. A few takeaways here for me. What can you do? We would love you to come in if you don't already have access to Curriki Studio, curriki.org, and come join, grab access to the account and play. 2, please provide us feedback on what you need, what you see, what you like and love, what we need to improve on, and what are things that in your day-to-day instruction, either in your classroom or as a curriculum director about scaling resources in higher ed or in training, please let us know. We're here. The essence of open source is community and contribution. So we want to make sure that everyone in our community of Curriki Studio and Curriki has a voice in our development path forward. And finally, on that note, share. Please, if you love what we're doing, which I think we've had some really great feedback, please share with your peers, your colleagues, take it up to your organizations. We are here and our mission is to provide this tool free access to create great learning experiences, and our community growing is the way that will bring impact to the environment today. So please share, please reach out with questions and comments. That's our homework for you all today. And as you think about using the tool, we've seen plenty of examples today about instruction, student-led instruction, but we've also had some great use cases from partners and collaborators on parent communication and adult communication, community-based communication. So think of any type of communication that needs to be out in a timely and thoughtful and purpose-built manner that would have been done face-to-face, or that is now sitting on a website now that you just kind of hope people grab a hold of. Please consider leveraging Curriki Studio for parent and community communication as well, especially as we have multilingual environments that you try to reach multiple different stakeholders in your organization and your community. We've seen some great use cases there as well. So again, thank you so much for your time. Please share, follow us at Curriki on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and share with your friends and your peers. The voice of the educator community is our strongest advocate, and we appreciate you. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day.